I'm doing a presentation on how print is not dead. And I do realize now the irony of reading it off an iPad. I get that. And I'll explain why that's not so bad. Anyways, which way is forward, which way back, good stuff. So, for decades, people have been calling print is dead. Every time a new technology comes out, every time when the phone came out, when the radio came out, when everything, any new technology comes out, people tell you print is dead. Print has been around for a long time. I have a little chart showing you all the ridiculous things that you can't read. Just trust me, print has been around for a long time. It's been the dominant source of mass communication since its inception. The concept, obviously, of print is to get your message, which was originally word of mouth, to get your message out to more people. That's been the goal of communication and communication technology since the beginning, and so continues to be. As you know now, with our modern technology, communication is extremely easy to get your message out to everyone, absolutely everyone conceivable, save for the people who have no access to that communication, and they're working on that. So that's the whole concept. So the best way to consider the idea of people calling for the death of print is to consider the source, I guess I would say. The idea is, of course, that this is a big, dominant technology. This being print is the communication technology, has been for thousands and thousands of years. It's exciting when it dies. It's sexy when it dies. It's the same sort of thing as you see on grocery stores. How the Mighty Have Fallen. All the publications that basically thrive on telling you how the Mighty have fallen. And it's kind of ironic, actually, because the number one sales tool of periodicals is to tell us how the Mighty have fallen, and ironically, coming full circle, people are all excited to tell us how that media has also fallen. So that's the basic idea, and that's why it comes up so often. That's why every time a new technology comes out, you hear print is dead. And of course, in our lifetime, that hasn't happened many times, but if you look back in history, you'll see every time some new technology comes out, that's the prevailing wind, is that it's going to kill print. The real story is a little more complex. It's not as simple as the end of an era, print being over, and new technologies beginning. It's just another day in the evolution of communication. So you won't see a heartbreak, you'll never see a heartbreak, and what it does is it figures out what belongs where, and we as printers get left printing the things that should be printed, and the things that work best printed. So, here's the good news. Good news is, for everyone in this room that loves creating beautiful printed pieces, which I assume is all of you, what digital communication has done for us is they take care of all the boring print. All the things that don't really excite us to print. From the print side of things, and I would assume don't really excite you to design, because there's not a lot of challenges. So you have beautiful things like this that are far better done digitally. Newspapers. I'm not sure if anybody's, if anybody in this room has the iPad version of Wired magazine. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it works the way a magazine should work. And you look at the cover of the magazine, you see something. The idea, obviously, of the cover of a magazine is that it catches your interest. Something on there catches your interest, be it a photograph of somebody that you want to read something about, or an article, a headline that sounds interesting. So you look at a magazine today that you pick up from the grocery store, and you read a title that makes you want to buy that magazine. You immediately try to find the table of contents, which is, you know, somewhere between page 3 or 10 or whatever, how many ads are in between. So you try to find the table of contents, you look for it, you search through, you dig around, and you find your article. On the digital version, you look at it, something catches your eye, you touch it, it takes you right to it. That obviously makes tons of sense. Also, as you go into the article, there's more information, and there's links, you know, if they're mentioning something, you click a link, it takes you off to that link. And you can keep researching the things that interest you, and then back up through, which is exactly the way you want to interact with a magazine, like, as opposed to now, reading that magazine, finding that article, reading that magazine, curling over the page and saying, I'm gonna make a note of what's in there. They made a reference to this band that I'm interested in, and I'm gonna look up that band, link right to that band. But things like that happen. There's audio, magazines that are audio reviews and that sort of thing, movie reviews, there's movie trailers in the magazine. There's everything that you would want to be in there. Same with newspapers. Nobody else has done it as well yet as Wired Magazine, but obviously there's a blueprint, and people will go that direction and push it farther. So magazines, they're not very exciting to print. They're a four-color process on the cheapest thing you can find, and perfect binded and on the shelf. They, therefore, are not that exciting to design because you've done it all before. They're all things, image here, text here. Obviously, there are ways to go to make magazines more interesting, but not as interesting as they can be digitally. Things like that is free ad down there, that's just an email ad, again, handled digitally, sent to an inbox, and you read it and you look at it, good, I've got my information. Again, the dissemination is very easy. Getting it out to people is very easy. And I mean, pizza flyers, I mean, that's actually a metaphor that we use for things that we don't do. Whenever people ask us, what kind of a shop we are, what kind of work we do, we tell them, no, we don't, nor do we want to do a million pizza flyers. And it's just something that we, obviously is not that interesting to us, and not the kind of thing we do. So, yeah, so they take care of all that stuff, which is good. So we don't have to deal with the print that's not that exciting. It's not as good news for people who have 8 40-inch presses that they have to keep, stuffing sheets in the back end of every day, all day, and big web presses, and people who are set up for volume. But people like ourselves, we're happy. So what are we left with? We are left with. That doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, I'm backing up. The other part about digital communications to understand, of course, is that they come to you and you're busy. You've got a million windows open. You're doing a million different things. You're considering this, that, and the other thing. It comes to you. You click on it. If it makes it through your junk mail filter, you look at it, you click on it, it's gone completely. Click the button, message. So what it does is leaves room for more considered, more focused communication. That's the exciting part, and that's why I'm still excited about print, and that's why I think you guys should still be excited about print. What we get to do now is we get to print communications that are designed specifically for the client. I know that's how we focus our marketing. We look at the people that we want to work with. We know names of the majority of people in the city that we endeavor to work with. And we can give them considered pieces that we've designed just for those type of people. It's for the big client, it's for the big prospect, it's for the the top brass or the big shareholders or whatever the case may be. But what you end up with is you get to tailor the message, and all of the noise is gone, basically. All of the making it the best piece for everyone is gone. I mean, obviously, again, not a hard break. This is a transition. I realize that you're all still probably dealing with designing things that are for mass markets, but we're seeing a huge increase in communications and pieces that have an extremely high unit cost, which works because the distribution is so narrow and the quantities are so low that companies can afford to spend 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 on. We just did a project, 400 books that was, it was a $50,000 project, so $125 a book. But those books matter so much to the audience that they're going to. And those same books, it was for a national bank, so they're a big bank, and they obviously have a lot of shareholders. But all the little guys get all the digital communications, and they take care of it that way. And all the big guys get these big, beautiful, expensive books, because you can afford to have high production values on these shorter run books. That particular book that we were talking about, I think that was 500 pieces, and it was about $25,000 job. But yeah, the point is that you can do all these things that you've always wanted to do, because in the end, the cap isn't right in your face. You can't say, well, yeah, but could we do that times a million? No, so forget it. So down to 4-color process on the cheapest paper, and the most common format. Has to be 8.5 11. If you go any bigger, it won't fit on the sheet. It won't be efficient. Efficiencies aren't as big of an issue anymore, and that's why it's going to be exciting to print. And the dollars are still there, and the budgets are still there, but they handle a portion digitally, and they handle a portion with these print communications. So for designers, it's great because you get to design both pieces, and the distribution obviously is so much easier and faster and more direct with the digital communication. But what we end up getting to do is the exciting projects, the interesting projects, the things that push the envelope. This particular piece was printed on the thinnest sheet of paper we could possibly find. I would equate it to Bible paper. That it was just, and again, to go through a sheet-fed offset press, that stuff is designed to be webbed. We were able to get it through our press 4 times actually. But it took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of money, but again, a very focused audience. So the production levels are very high. We get this business card actually, last time I was here a few years ago, I showed this business card, but it's still awe-inspiring. It's insane. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. It has a window in it with a mirror, and like but again, these business cards were created for a very focused, specific audience. These are the show-off business cards, and then the other general business cards are handed out. And obviously, it's easier that way. So, books like this here it's actually a perfect example of how these production costs don't scale up. This book has a sewn spine. It's a chipboard cover. It's a screen printed blackboard cover. But as soon as this author actually sold the rights to a publishing company, then the production levels go down the drain, and they get tons of them out in the market, and they're cheaper, and we don't get to print them anymore, which is unfortunate. But still the case, and it's fine. So I guess what I would say, is if print is dead, then we're having a hell of a time in the afterlife. Because I've got no problem with the way it's set up right now. Digital is doing what digital is supposed to do, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. So, Flash Reproductions. You can talk to myself or David or Andrew if you're interested in what we do. I promised I wouldn't pitch us too hard. All right, thanks. Anybody have questions? Since I've set myself up as kind of an authority. Yeah?
So how do you describe what you do? You don't do pizza platters?
We don't do pizza platters, no. We, not unlike Norm, I found it interesting how Norm started out his presentation saying that they don't do the easy stuff, they only do the hard stuff. We're very similar, but like Norm, but he didn't tell you, we're happy to also do the easy so. Because every once in a while we need a break. But yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We print on things that people can't print on. We have, every week we have someone referred to us from one of our competitors. And they said, you know, so-and-so told me to call you because, more often than not, because they're not interested, because they just don't know how to do it. They're like, oh, Flash will figure it out. We do a lot of R&D. We have a government program right now that funds us to do a lot of our R&D. So it behooves us to try to figure out how to do things, try to figure out how to print on things that can't be printed. We do everything from stationery to books to, we have a wide range of presses. We have a 20-inch press, a 29-inch press, a 40-inch press. We do screen printing, letterpress, foil stamp, embossing, die cutting, saddle stitching. We do pretty much everything in-house. We do spot UVs, I could go on, and I guess that's what you've asked me to do. But yeah, we do a lot. We do a lot of the interesting things that no one else really wants to spend the time to figure out what to do. And like I said, we have gained government assistance to fund some of that. So quite often, if you come to us and say, I don't know how we can do this, what can we do, how can we print on this material, then we'll figure it out, and it's not going to necessarily be on your dime. In fact, more than likely it won't be on your dime. We'll figure it out, and we'll find a way to print on it. We've modified our presses over and over again. We engineered a press with, a press feeder with Heidelberg to get it to feed the vinyls that we print every day. And now they're selling that modification worldwide. We developed inks with some ink manufacturers to print again on substrates that just wouldn't print and wouldn't actually cure properly. So yeah, that's what we do. But like I was saying before, we will also happily do your 4-color 12-page books. Yeah, just because we do amazing things, it just means we're really efficient and good at doing the little easy things. What else? Yeah.
Your pre-press in-house?
We do all our pre-press in-house, yeah. All retouching and that sort of thing as well. We do a lot of photo work, and but yeah, all of our layout and all of our file prep, and we do pretty much everything that we do it in-house. If we do it often enough, we make sure that we do it in-house, because there's a lot more control there, and we can make promises that we can actually keep. So, to be perfectly honest, we only have about 3 outside suppliers on a regular basis, and Specialties is one of them, because they're I'm not here because of that. So they're great at what they do, and they're the kind of people that if they say they'll have to Wednesday at noon, you can tell your client they'll have it Wednesday at 1, pick it up and get it there, and there's no way that they're going to let you down. We go like that. We work the same way, and we've endeavored to make sure that if we can't find someone outside that we can rely on, that we do it ourselves. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we've done that quite a bit. Actually, Andrew will hand out to anyone who's interested. We have, I call it a corporate brochure, but it's 160-page corporate brochure. A lot of photography. But yeah, we combine everything we can. I love doing that. I mean, that book itself is offset printed, but we screen printed a spot UV on the spine on our logo, and we embossed it. It's a fine art to mix everything and still have it look good and not look like you're trying too hard and not look like you're pushing too hard. And that's why we love to work with great designers, because they can take something and throw a lot at it, but in subtle ways that don't make it look like like it's over the top. So. Anybody else? Great, thanks a lot.